Hey everyone, what is good? My name is Herox and I like making music. Some time ago I asked myself how Blooom, Freaks and Geeks and Cameron Hayes made this vocal effect.
I can't forget all the words you said.
I've been looking to recreate this and I will show you how I did this in this video. So after countless attempts of recreating this, which really went from playing around with stock plugins, using vocodecs, which sounded way too robotic, to tuning every little note and having separate mixer channels for each note. And after weeks and weeks of frustration and trial and error, and taking to my Instagram, where Blooom actually replied, we'll get to that later on, I finally have a result that I'm happy with. And I will show you this right now. Let's head straight into FL and I'm gonna show you how I approached this technique. First off, let me show you how this sounds. The vocal I used for this is by Helene. It's from her song together with my friend Freedom. Their song, Sorry I Want to Forget You, which I also remixed. And yeah, let me show you how this sounds.
I don't wanna feel too much. I don't wanna feel your touch. Erase me out of your mind. There was way too much to grudge.
So as you can see, I got two patterns in here. First, we have the vocal, which is already pre-processed. I just took this out of my remix and left it as it was. Then I got this MIDI, which is just playing MIDI out. This is channel 1, port 1. This is important for later. And then we got the low end, which I will explain after I explained this mess right here. First off, I put the main vocal here. It's a dry vocal, and I really have to state that this works the best when you have a dry vocal. I initially tried this with a wet a cappella by Coldplay, and yeah, it was really like muddy and the effect didn't work really good. Don't be confused by this stuff over here. I just cut out some of these peaks here with the limiter. So the peak controller is a bit more accurate. I added a de-esser on here. You don't have to use any of the FabFilter stuff in here. I just use it because I have it. There's also this kind of room reverb, which is really nice for vocals if you have like a dry vocal signal. That is like in mono, you have a lead vocal, then you put like a little bit of really short reverb on. It's just a little bit of stereo imaging there. So you can see in the mini-meters tab below here in the stereo image. This is doing a bit, so that's all for the main vocal post-processing, let's say. So this is first off going into this harmonizer thing. In the harmonizer thing, there isn't any dry signal from this vocal coming in. So we only have like a de-esser in front, which is like set a bit harsher than the de-esser on this one here, so that the chain that I will be showing you afterwards won't be affected that much. I bypassed this EQ. You will have to EQ according to what you want to do with this. So if you have a lot of instrumentation going on, I recommend to tone that down a lot so the vocal effect can come through. Okay, so now for the most complicated part. This is a patcher preset that I made. First off, the yellow lines are the audio signals, the red lines are parameter controls, and the green lines are events such as MIDI input, which I used here. Huge shout out to Blooom for this. He told me that he used Harmonizing for this. Of course, this is a paid plugin and it's not that cheap, so you really have to see if there is any alternatives for this. So let's just treat this Harmony engine as the last part of this. So the signal is coming in. This equalizer is doing nothing. I just put this into here to spare a slot. I initially had this here, and then I put it into here because, like, why not? Then you have one more slot that you can use later on if you want to process this further. And then this is going into a peak controller, of course, What a P controller does is take the input signal and make it into that sort of curve right here, and you can control how this curve is going through these parameters here. So let me just play a bit of the vocal.
I don't wanna feel too
And then you can see
much.
right here that this curve is like going up and down according to what is being put into this. So you can make this softer with the decay button, and you can determine how much
I don't wanna feel too much.
amplitude this has with the volume button. And of course, I also applied a bit of this bass knob, which is just determining where this starts. If it starts at 0, the effect will be a lot quieter. Okay, next plugin in the chain is Ascend, which is controlling the wet signal that is coming out of Harmony Engine. This knob is following the output of this P control. Then the signal is going into a soft clipper, most underrated plugin in FL Studio of all time. And then a compressor. You can, of course, use a stock compressor or any compressor that you have. And then afterwards, I have this EQ with a cut at, I think, 250 Hz, because we will be treating the low end in another channel, not here, just to have more control over the signals, because mixing in a patcher view is, I think, too complicated, and you have way more control when you have like 2 channels here. Let's go into Harmony Engine. This is the plugin. It looks like a lot, but really what it does is take the input and split it according to what you tell it onto 4 different voices. This right here is the input. I muted this so that I can only have the wet signal in here. And I've also cranked the tracking up to relaxed. Then we got the input vocal range and the model glottal. For this example, I found that these 2 settings are best. And I also turned on the denoise, so a bit of the harshness from the main signal is being taken out again. And then there's these pan buttons, which I put on -20, 20, -5 and +5. I left the levels all the way where they were. So you can mix the different voices if you want to. Then most importantly, the harmony source is set to MIDI Omni right here. And this lets us control what notes these voices are going to with the MIDI input. This is coming in from MIDI port 1, and the Harmony Engine is set MIDI input port 1. The only thing left to do is what I showed you in the beginning, channel 1, port 1. I don't know if channel is that important. I'm not using MIDI out a lot, but the most important thing is the port right here, that you set this to 1. And then you can control with this MIDI out instrument the notes that are being sent to the plugin. That's what I did with this MIDI here. These are just, I think, the original chords from the remix. And then, of course, afterwards, I turned off this EQ for this example right here, so you can hear it best. So yeah, that's it for the patcher presets. And now we got the mid-high harmonies of the vocal.
I don't wanna feel too much.
And just quickly, I can unroute this so you can only hear the wet signal out of here. And then you can like control how much signal is coming out of there with this, or the decay speed. I found when you have the decay speed too high and this curve is getting all wobbly and stuff, then there's some clicking in the high frequencies. I don't know why that is, because maybe the Send plugin can't keep up with all the information coming in and is just like jiggling around and creating pops in the high frequencies. And now we want to make the low end as well. For the low end, I made this patch. Let me just bypass the send, because this is always like really low. It's like a really basic patch. This is like basic shapes saw wave, also basic shapes sine wave. The random is turned all the way down, mono is on, and this is being filtered with the MG low 24. The drive is turned up a bit for grittiness. I don't think that I have any effects on here. No, there aren't any effects. And then afterwards, I'm just cutting this again, and we got the 250 hertz again. So the mid and high harmonies are being low cut at this exact frequency, and the low end harmonies are being cut at the exact same frequency, just for low pass. Okay, and there's this little extra thing that I made for this, because of course you can just put like a P controller behind here. But in this case, I found that there is a lot of high frequencies, and I didn't want these high frequencies to control how much low end is coming in, because I didn't really think it was cool to have like these sharp noises controlling the low end, especially because in this song or in this vocal, the sharp noises are always either at the beginning or at the end of like a line. And therefore I made this extra channel, which is just taking out some of the high frequencies, not like a lot, just to make this P controller, which is working the exact same way as in the patcher preset here, just with a little bit of different settings. I think this is a bit faster. What is most important is that this channel isn't going out to anywhere. So this just comes into here and goes nowhere. So we don't have like a double output of this main vocal. Then this P controller here controls the send plugin right here. As you can see, when I play this knob right here moves. And if I now turn on the patch or the pattern right here, you will see that there will be input coming in, and it will be following the envelope, or the P controller will make the bass follow the vocal.
I don't wanna feel too much. I don't wanna feel your touch.
What you should do next is mix this. I think this on its own is really beautiful.
I don't wanna feel too much.
And when you pimp this up with a reverb send, like this is my normal reverb send that I do, I can maybe show that in another video if you want, you get a result like this.
I don't wanna feel too much. I don't wanna feel your touch.
Yeah, so that's it. That's how you can achieve this effect. If you have any questions about this, feel free to comment. I'll be answering all your questions, or message me on Instagram. Make sure you follow me there for more updates. And I hope that you liked this video. Of course, massive shout out to Blooom for showing me the secret source of this harmonizer. I'll be back very soon. Thank you so much for watching. See you. Bye bye.